go back. So 2016 in South Africa was seen as a bit of a watershed because that was local government elections. So not national, not provincial like we're doing tomorrow. But suddenly we saw municipalities landing themselves in coalition governments. No outright winner in Tshwane, Joburg, Nelson Mandela Bay. Suddenly things change. Do you think we could see coalitions forming this time at a provincial, maybe not a national level, but moving up to a provincial level?
Yes. You see, we must understand that the local government elections, at the time when it took place in 2016, there was a lot of discontent, and many citizens were unhappy with the delivery rate under the leadership of the ANC ruling party. Now, on that basis, that triggered coalitions between opposition parties, because the idea was we have to remove the ANC because the ANC is not delivering. Remember, on the national front, there was a Zuma factor, which people were already unhappy to say, look, Zuma must go, he's not helping the country with anything. And that, of course, triggered the coalition. Now, with these current elections, there are two factors that we need to consider. The first factor is that you have Ramaphosa, who is singing a sort of a different renewal song, representing the ANC. And he seems to be getting a lot of reception nationally. But people in the local level and in the provincial level, they still have concerns with the leadership of the ruling party in those areas. And even in some of those coalitions, some of them did not work. So you will find that some of the smaller parties might want to change affiliations in terms of forming coalitions. They might want to move from this other partner to another partner. So that you are going to find a lot in the provincial level.
And certainly the politicians would prefer an outright win. It is easier. We've seen some of those coalitions being quite unstable, in fact.
Yes.
So you're talking about disillusioned voters. There was a lot of analysis then that those disillusioned voters, many loyal to the ANC, wouldn't vote for another party but would stay away. Yes. The question now being asked is Cyril Ramaphosa, is the president, is his talk of a new dawn strong enough to bring those ANC voters back?
Look, I think the ANC never lost those voters. The only thing is that they decided to stay away and they did not vote. Now, those voters...
You mean the ANC didn't lose them?
The ANC did not lose them.
Yeah.
Those voters remain the ANC members and the supporters of the ANC, but they decided deliberately that they are not going to vote for Jacob Zuma. And on that basis, they stayed away from the elections. Now, what the Cyril factor does is that it is able to bring them back to vote. So therefore, the voter turnout in favor of the ANC in that regard will increase in terms of its own internal constituency. But now, there is one area that the ANC is struggling to push the frontiers. That is on the youth level. Because I don't really think the ANC has done enough to be able to attract a lot of youth voters. So you are still going to find a lot of youth going for the EFF, because the EFF has made a lot of strides to get access to tertiary universities. If you look at universities, for example, the EFF is practically a majority party in most of the SRCs. Now, what happened to the ANC, you think there, is practically dead. Yeah. Now, this is one area that...
However, will it help the ANC that, in fact, a lot of young people have not even bothered to register there?
That is the issue. That, in fact, my view is that the ANC hasn't managed to attract the new voters that much. Yes, there will be a few here and there, but the percentage won't be substantial to make a huge difference in terms of the ANC making a dent on the youth side. And I think it's if one was to advise the ANC, you will advise the ANC that in the next elections, they really need to make some focus on the youth.
Some people are seeing this as a referendum on Cyril Ramaphosa's leadership. Do you see it like that?
I don't really think so, because remember, Cyril Ramaphosa has been part of the Zuma government, and on that basis alone, it can be a referendum. This is a party-based election, and it's a national election, and therefore Cyril has been part of the ANC, and therefore it can be a referendum for him.
However, if he's stronger in his party, maybe he's got more of a stronger hand for reform. What do you think voters, how are they looking at this in terms of party with its problems versus leadership?
Look, Cyril Ramaphosa, in no doubt, has portrayed some good leadership qualities. And that, of course, will attract a little bit of support for the ANC in the provinces. But the issue is, he's still heading the ANC. And what is the general perception towards the ANC? Because he's not running his own different political party. He is running the ANC as a political party. The issue is whether he has been able to transcend from the perception that the voters have towards the ANC. And I don't really think so, because remember, you are going into these elections at the same time when you have your state capture commissions and so on and so on. And who is at the center there? Most of the officials, most of the politicians that were part of the ruling party. And that, in fact, does a huge negative dent for the ANC, unfortunately.
All right, thank you for your analysis. We'll see if this all makes sense after tomorrow. Thank you so much for giving us your views. Dr. Randeni Ranilala, political analyst there, and just looking at some of the predictions around coalition governments that we now see at a municipal level. Could that translate into a provincial level? Certainly, Gauteng would be one to watch for that.